This video is brought to you by
Cool green clothing coming straight up out of that DMV. You know what it is. This that Baltimore designer right here. Come on now, come and show some love and show some support. Go online right now, coolgreenclothing.com, and make your purchase. Oh yeah, by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. Y'all keep up with me. It's like 2 stories in one. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. In life, as most mature, get older, we look back at our mistakes and realize we had choices. Sometimes it might not seem that way due to certain circumstances. For example, if you grow up in an environment where all you see is red tops and blue tops being sold, shots being fired, people losing their life, your mother or father might be getting high, and you are forced to take care of yourself or learn how to survive early, it might put you in a mindset like I don't have a choice. Either I'm going to get out here and get in the mix, look out for me and mine, or I'm going to sit back and see how everything plays out. For most that are young and impressionable, instead of going to school, getting a job, it's easier to adapt to your environment. We learn how to hustle, finesse, rob. Some even learn how to take lives. Because in our mind, it's Doug eat Doug, survival of the fittest. We often don't notice the good around us, even in a bad situation, because we see things as we want to see them. It's hard to tell a man that has a wife and kids with no job or money, with an eviction note on his door. No worries, yo. You got to interview Monday, because Monday isn't guaranteed, but this lick today is. But with that, it's still a choice. And when you choose to step out here and play in the field, it's cool when you are the star player. But the question is, can you live with the consequences when you get benched? And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of a man that was backdoored by his own goddaughter for his casino winnings. Lexis Hart and her little brother, Jaheim Battle, grew up in East Baltimore. Some say they had a tough life, but some say they had people around them that really loved them and cared for them. Jaheim was described as many inner city kids, always outside and bad, to the point family and friends even thought the young man was missing back in the day, and there was a post online to help them find him. Lexis was the typical young lady growing up in Baltimore, liked to be around her friends and to have fun. Things would start changing for the siblings once they realized their environment was kind of rough, and it really hit Lexis hard when one of her close friends lost his life at a young age. Back in 2011, Marquise Hall, who friends called Mark, was 16 years old when he was shot in the 500 block of North Lakewood Avenue in East Baltimore, and unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. Being with Marquise almost every day, his loss hit Lexis hard, but life went on, and the siblings grew up and went their separate ways. Fast forward to 2022, the city was on fire, and the homicide rate was sky high. On January 19, 2022, 3 men were hanging outside on Monument Street. They were at the time 28-year-old Tyrone Allen, who friends called TJ, 24-year-old Hassan Smith, who friends called Whoop, and 29-year-old Deshaun McGregor, who friends called Nut. Most might remember Nut from the viral 2018 video where a Baltimore City police officer was responding to a woman in the East Baltimore neighborhood. Feeling like the officer was out of pocket and handling the situation wrong, Nut asked the police why he was carrying it like that before the police put hands on him. I won't play the video, but it went viral. To the point, Nut hired the famous attorney in the city, Warren Brown, and was able to get a large settlement of $500,000 from the city. And the police officer responsible received 9 months in prison. But instead of leaving the area, Nut became a part of Safe Streets, a group in the city that advocates for the violence to stop, talk to the hoppers, and try to mediate situations before they get out of hand. Back to that day, all three of the friends were chopping it up while out of nowhere, somebody rolled by, letting off 25 shots, hitting TJ, Whoop, Nut, and another man. As BPD responded to the 2400 block of East Monument Street, one victim was rushed to Johns Hopkins, where he would survive. But unfortunately, the three friends would pass away from their injuries. As detectives in the community tried to piece together what happened, they had no leads or suspects, just 40 shell casings on the scene. As the community mourned the loss of the three men, more violence was happening throughout the city. In another part of town, 66-year-old Clarence Buckner was enjoying life, which in his case was well earned and deserved. Mr. Clarence was married, had been with his wife for many years, the father of 12 kids, 25 grandkids, and 3 great-grands. They had a big family. Clarence had worked for Baltimore City Schools for over 20 years as a cafeteria cook, and now he was able to sit back and enjoy his retirement. In his downtime, he would sometimes hit the Horseshoe Casino in hopes of winning a few dollars or just to kill time. On January 30th, 2022, Clarence headed out the house to go gamble. To his luck, while at the casino, the man had hit big. He called a few close people, family and friends, to let them know, and told his wife he would be home soon. As he pulled up to his home in Northeast Baltimore, Clarence was in a good mood. His goddaughter Lexis, who was now 26 years old, had stopped by the house. She knocked on the door and asked could she use the bathroom. Clarence was in the room and told his wife he was about to change clothes so they could get ready to eat. When seconds later, a man ran in, gun in hand. He approached the couple and demanded money. Clarence's wife and Lexis seemed scared. To make sure he protected his wife and goddaughter, Clarence was thinking fast. As the robber told him, "You got 20 seconds to kick it out before I start shooting." He told the man the money was in a room, giving his wife and goddaughter a chance to run out the back door for help, and which they did. But seconds later, a shot went off, leaving Clarence's wife running from the neighbor's house back to their home to find Mr. Clarence on the bedroom floor, shot in the chest. Neighbors had already called BPD, but unfortunately, when they arrived to the scene, Clarence had passed away from his injuries. His wife explained he had just returned from the casino and had won a good bit of money. It seemed like somebody peeped the man and followed him back to the house. But again, police had no leads or suspects. It seemed Lexus had took another loss. As BPD put out a reward for any information, the months went by. As time went on, somebody's name would pop up in a triple hit on Monument Street. It was Lex's little brother, now 22 years old, Jaheim. But it was all just he say, she say. The young man had relocated to Pennsylvania, but had violated his parole and came back to Baltimore. When BPD tracked him down on a parole violation, he had a .40 caliber handgun with an extended clip in his possession, the same caliber gun that was used in the Monument Street shooting. He was taken into custody. While detectives looked for more evidence, as a few months went by, Jaheim spoke to police, but surprisingly, it wasn't about the Monument Street shooting, but the murder of Mr. Clarence. He confessed him and his sister Lexis had followed the man home from the casino. She walked in the house, being that it was her godfather, and he came in behind her, holding him and his wife at gunpoint. He stated he shot the man once Mr. Clarence's wife ran out the back door. With that confession and now evidence coming back pointing to Jaheim in the triple homicide, he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree hit, robbery, handgun violations, and other charges, leading the police going to find Lexis. She was picked up and questioned. At first, she denied any involvement in setting her godfather up or helping her brother, but police already had information. She was charged with robbery, conspiracy, and even though she wasn't the person to pull the trigger, also first-degree hit charges. Mr. Clarence's wife spoke out to the news. She stated she was in denial Lexis would do something like that, especially considering the fact how much Clarence did for her to try to help her. She let it be known her husband worked hard to provide and didn't deserve to lose his life in a violent way, as the man was too loving and cared about people. Back on Monument Street, everybody had a little bit of closure about what happened to the 3 friends, even though no motive was ever given. As the case started making its way to trial, Lex's case came first, as her godfather's family filled the courtroom looking for justice. She copped out to the charges, but as the sentencing date came around, she told her attorney she didn't understand the plea agreement. She stated she didn't think nobody would get hurt in a situation, and it wasn't her plan, and she was used to others making decisions for her. But it was too late. Lexus, at 28 years old, received life, all suspended but 35 years in prison. As Clarence's family spoke out, his wife let it be known she was cruddy for doing what she did after everything he had did for her. And a lifetime in prison for the young lady still wouldn't bring Clarence back. Now it was time for Jaheim to go to court himself. Prosecutors agreed to get a young man life plus 20 years for the hit on Clarence to run concurrent with another life plus 20 years for the triple slam on Monument Street. But the judge felt they were two different situations, and for that reason, his 2 life sentences would be consecutive, meaning that the young man, at just 22 years old, might never get out of prison. Rest in peace to Tyrone, Hassan, Deshaun, and Clarence. I send my prayers and condolences to every family impacted by this situation. I don't know what went left with Jaheim. Maybe his environment, circumstances, survival, or revenge. Whatever his reasons were to crash out like that, only he knows. As far as Lexus, she claimed to always be a pawn, not being able to think for herself. It seems she been through a lot, but had people who loved her around, even though she stated her brother wasn't supposed to shoot and just take the money. It goes back to choices. When you choose to gamble with your freedom and life for a quick come up, you gotta accept what comes with that if you get caught. Now both still in their 20s, the siblings threw their lives away over nothing. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace, them 4 men that lost their life. I definitely send my prayers to their family. Let me know what y'all think about the situation in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.